The following podcast is sponsored by author-editor Talina Winters. Talina has just released her book, The Undine's Tear, which is book one of the Rise of the Grigori trilogy. It is a young adult setting which has a very interesting take on mermaids and mermen, which are called Undines. You can find this book on Amazon, Kobo, and all available book platforms, or you can get more information on TalinaWinters.com or through her in social media channels at Talina Winters. And by the Raven Podcast. The Raven Podcast is the brainchild of Jason Leblanc. Each episode, he actually narrates a story from an author, and then him and the author get together and they do an interview about the story. This is a perfect commute podcast on the way to work. They're short and very memorable. I really dig Jason's take on interviews and how he conducts himself in telling stories. He's an awesome narrator. He's a great guy, and this is a great podcast. Check it out at theravenpodcast.com or on any podcast app you are aware of. Welcome, everyone, to episode 264 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pantellaresco. I write stuff and podcast too. Today, I conclude my conversation with Morgan Leblanc. I thoroughly enjoyed this chat. I really did. I was inspired by it, and I think this is a very inspiring chat. We get into a little bit more about success, and we also talk about Howard Stern and a few other really cool things that came up in our conversations. And yeah, like Morgan, like I said, man, you were great. I would love to have you back at some point. But, yeah, it was a great little chat. And before we get to that, though, I'm going to talk about my second sponsor for the month, my new sponsor for the month, which is the Raven Podcast. Jason Leblanc has a really, really great little show. And I say little, but I mean, he's just getting started with it. But I love the concept of it. He narrates a story from his author guest himself for a little bit, and then they actually go and talk about it in great detail. It's a really cool take on interviews. I really love how Jason just puts his own spin on something like I'm doing. Like my interviews are very casual. His are very focused, but in a really cool way. I really, really dig it. It's a kind of podcast you definitely want to listen to on the drive. My personal favorite was the one he did with Susie. I'm a big fan of Susie Vidori. Personally, so the idea that both of them having a cool little chat is a lot of fun. So that's episode 14. There's 15 episodes for now, and he's releasing more all the time, so definitely check that out. I think we'll get to the conversation for now. I got a couple things I'm going to chat about when this is done. So let's get to it, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. No, it sounds like you got a lot of exciting stuff like coming down the pike. So this has obviously been a journey. Like you said, depression got you into this, but I mean, you've been doing this for, I imagine, for quite a while now, or or have just things been kind of falling into place that because sometimes when you do you're doing the right thing for you, it's amazing how things kind of fall the way. Yeah. Right. Sometimes it goes like exactly like that. Other times it's still a struggle. Sometimes, but sometimes I feel it's like the universe going, how bad do you really want it? You know what I mean? I mean, it's. So, what's been more like a combination of things have fallen into place, a little bit of how bad do you really want it, that kind of stuff. Like, how would you describe that?
I would say it's exactly that. I've been doing this for like 5 years, and when things kind of turned a corner was. I would always do pretty well at any project. I just would audition for anything. I wouldn't care. Just want to get the exposure, get established, get some experience. Get people knowing. They know you, get some recognition locally. And then I auditioned for 2 movies with the same director, and I called him and I was like, "What?" And I know him. I've known him for like 10 years. We did a play when I was going to university. Anyway, I just said, like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not getting these roles? Because I feel like I did a hell of an audition. And you said I did a hell of an audition, so what's wrong? Is it my face? Is it my drive? Is there something that I gave you that you were like, I don't think you can do it? He goes, well, you don't have the experience. I was like, well, how? Okay, it's the same. It's the chicken before the egg thing. How does it work? And he was like, okay, well, maybe, help me produce this thing, and, you'll be taken a little bit more seriously. If you're the lead in a movie, we'll go, oh, okay, this guy can carry an entire movie. And so we had this conversation, and he goes, well, a lot of the big stars, they make those opportunities happen for themselves. Like Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool is a good example. He made that happen. Not he, he was a part of making that happen. There's lots of movies that are produced by the stars as well. And so it was pretty well after that where I just was like, what's going wrong? We made this movie. It's it's in stores now. Like the DVD is out, and then things just started happening. Like things started happening in succession. You meet people. You're at events. You just kind of are not boastful, but you're not as reserved as you were before you weren't pursuing your dreams. Maybe to say like, hey, I want to be an actor. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, I'm an actor. And people go, oh, really? Oh, wow. How does one get involved in that? How did that happen? Blah blah blah. And you talk. Well, how do we know? Where can I see your stuff? Oh, here, there, everywhere. Oh, wow, like you're really doing it. And so it's definitely, it comes down to how much you want it for sure, but it also comes down to like really listening to your heart and going, how am I going to make this happen? And don't be shy, and don't be your own resistance. Like tell people what you're doing. Oh, I know so and so. You should meet so. Okay, perfect, great. Yeah, and you establish these interesting connections of how crazy this unlikely connection is. Oh yeah, my best friend of my whole life is actually a producer in LA, and you should give me your movie and I'll give it to him. What?
Yeah, it does happen. Yeah.
Those things happen when you put it out into the universe.
Yes.
If you don't, they'll never happen.
No, exactly. And for me, like I said, I've been producing. I did the podcast for about 100 plus episodes, and I was wondering, should I continue doing this? Then the next day, I literally asked that question. The next day, I get an email. It's like, "Congratulations, dear Aurora Award finalist." Wait, what? Read the email. Your podcast is an Aurora. Okay, that's damn cool. And then I won. Like, I got credibility. Like that. But yeah. So it's kind of been like, and that's usually how this kind of stuff works. Is you build yourself up, and then suddenly you're like, oh, is anyone paying attention? Eventually you realize, yes, people are paying attention to what you've done. And then that leads leading to where you want to go, wherever that is. So I'm going to ask a big question for you. Where do you want to go?
My film partner just asked me the same question.
It's a good question.
Well, it's a tough question because, to say it out loud is kind of like legitimizes it, I guess. I would love to, be in a huge movie. I'd love to be able to method act something. For me, it's tough because I see like Jim. One of my favorite roles is Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, that's.
And he method acted that whole thing. Then there's the Netflix documentary, which is unbelievable. And it's like I can do that, but I don't live somewhere where that's an opportunity. That's a possibility. Like you have to. It's so small here, and you kind of a guy to really method act something. People are like, that guy's crazy. We can't work with him. That was insane. I'm like, that's phenomenal. That's so cool to just be another person and stay that other person for the duration of a film. So I would just love to be, getting the opportunities to get bigger roles and given those opportunities to be like, this is the character we need you to create. And do whatever it takes. And then having the ability or the flexibility or the opportunity to do that without any resistance, because that's what you're expected to do. Whereas here it's like, okay, well now I have to go, I'm producing, now I have to go to work, now I have to come back, now we're going to film, and it's not necessarily in succession. I can only take X amount of days off, but I need to be on set for 5. It's
a weird balance. It's a weird, and it's the money versus time argument. The more money you have, right, the less time you seem to have, and the more time you have, the less money you seem to have. And that's usually how it works. And you're like, is there a way to balance this? And eventually, yes, it does work out, but it takes a long ass time sometimes to figure that out.
And the real answer to your question would be, I just want to be somewhere where I can only focus on the creative stuff and not have to work and just
acting.
Be there.
So acting, producing, or both?
Well, both. But people are like, can you help me produce this thing? And I go, yeah, if I'm in it. Which is crappy because you're like, wow, I defaulted this role. But I produce to act. I don't want to produce, but you make your own opportunities. So then, 2 of my biggest roles have come from me just, grinding and knocking down doors and making them happen for myself, for sure. And I'm a poet. I sing in a band. So I just want to be able to do all my creative stuff. The freedom to be like, oh, what? Sorry, we're jamming Monday morning, 10 o'clock. Sick, fantastic. Well, I gotta work, guys. So it's just getting to the point where I can act, produce, do what I want to do with my time,
and which is a very very
pay my bills with it.
Pay your bills and be like, nope, I'm not here anymore, or I don't anywhere I don't want to be anymore, which is the ultimate freedom I think we all aspire to.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And like when you hear people, I just retired. I'm like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to ever say to myself, I'm retiring, because I'm just gonna stop creating, maybe, or which you never will. But you know what I mean? Like when someone goes, "Oh, we're retiring. Oh, so now you get to live your life." That's so scary to hear.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I did this job for 40 years and then I retired, and oh my God, retirement is unbelievable. Wouldn't that be great if your entire life was like that?
Yeah.
You did whatever you wanted to do.
Well,
self, but whatever.
Well, for me, it's like I'm approaching 40, and I'm like, I'm too old. I am too old to work for a day job anymore. And I actually say that. I've said that to my boss. I'm too old for this job. And he looked at me. They all look at me like I'm strange because they're like, but it's like, and that's why I'm part-time right now. I'm doing the things I want to do. Like, I'm at that point in my life where it's like, you know what, I don't want to wait anymore. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to let things happen. I'm going to figure out how to make it viable so I can do it all the time. And when I do, and then I'm going to learn how to surf, and then I'm going to go to a beach somewhere where there's a mountain on top, and then that will be my life. I will surf, right? I will create, I will surf. And that it'll be a very zen, it's like, that's my ideal. Now that I've said that, see, that here's what'll happen. The universe will give me all these other opportunities, but that one. They'll be like, but you can't have that. But you knew everything else. Because that's how the universe works.
Yeah.
Right?
That's very...
Yeah, it's like, I just want this. It's like, yes, but the moment you get this, you're comfortable and you stop growing.
It's very true. It's the same with dating.
Yes.
You're single, there's not a woman in sight. As soon as you get in a relationship, all these women are talking to you differently, and you're, what's happening here? This wasn't here like before this.
Yeah, I literally just got a girlfriend, and it's like literally I just got one again, and it's just like, okay, we're starting. It's kind of an organic thing. I'm kind of at that point where it's like I want to build a fence with just you in it. That's a normal thing, right? But I'm like, I know this is going to happen because I started seeing this with my other successes. People I haven't talked to in years have come out of the woodwork and started talking to me again. It's like, where were you? Where were you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like, where were you 5 years ago when I could have been? I would have appreciated this a lot more.
I was lonely and crying myself to sleep.
Yeah, and it's like now you're like, now I don't want to talk to you because you aren't that mattered.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah, you want to talk to me now, but I don't want to talk to you.
See, I get that a lot now. I don't know if it's a weird thing because people think, I don't know. I've had so many people like reconnect with me and go, oh my God, like it's so cool, like you're doing what you're doing. I've always wanted to get into acting, like blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I see you think that I can offer you like the gateway into art, and I can't. You're like, yeah, I'm a producer, and yeah, I do casting, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be like, yeah, for sure, you should like be in my next movie, like great. No, you have to actually be good. So you get these kind of like false, kind of like, hey, okay, I'm not a big star, so chill out.
Actually,
I always thought you were really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, you just gave me this horrible idea. Like with the voice you just did there, you should totally like do like this actor that gets like the stupid money for the stupid gig decides that he just wants to produce a movie with all his friends. That would be like a terribly hilarious movie. It's like because like everybody all that successful, all that like the worst nightmares possible. This is why successful people become slightly more isolated, because the moment you get success, everybody wants a piece of you. It's like, oh, okay. So now we're going to set a boundary. Right? Here's my boundary. You will not cross it.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's and even just like as a producer now, people are like, oh my God, you made that movie. Those two movies happen. Can you make my movie happen? Well,
yes. but only for this much.
Well, yeah, like, sure, but you have to be willing to make your movie happen as much as I was willing to make those movies happen. Well, what do you mean? You have to do something for that movie. And if you're not, then it's probably not going to happen.
Yep.
And it's, all of a sudden you just get this overwhelming, hey, well, my God, we should go for coffee. I got this thing I want to pitch you. Of course you do.
Of course you do.
I don't have a key to anything, so...
But I'll hear you out. Why not? But
oh yeah,
yeah, because you never know.
Yeah, and I never go, oh no way, man, you're not a big deal, because I'm not a big deal, right? So I'm all for meeting and chatting and brainstorming and talking about ideas every day. I'll do that with whoever, and then after I'm like, wow, that person was crazy.
Yeah, but was it your kind of crazy? Because that's the important part. Because again, going back, it's one. At some point, we all were that person who was like, I have an idea. Let's make it happen. And some people have it in them to follow it through. And those are the people worth meeting. The people, again, but I think as I've gotten older, I judge people by what they do. Not what they say, but what they do. I will actually observe, because I came to this wonderful conclusion about 2 years ago that people do exactly what they want to do no matter what. And once I realized that, I got rid of all resentment. But now I just look at it this way. What are you doing? What do you really want to do here? Right? And that's literally how I look at people now. What are you really wanting to do in this situation? Because you're talking a lot, but you're not doing anything. So what do you want here? Okay. And then once I understand that, I just go, okay, now I'll treat you accordingly. Right? Again... the more integrity you show, the more generous I am. The more what you say and what you do are the same, I would totally respect that. The more that diverts, the more my resentment goes up, and the more the zeros go in front of the decimal.
But I feel like when you make the artistic change for yourself is when you realize that about other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're hearing people say, oh, I want to learn the guitar, I want to get into this, I really want this but you haven't made a single step to do that. So you are doing exactly what you want. Oh, you want to learn the guitar, but I'm calling you and you're playing video games. Yeah, really learning the guitar, are you?
Yeah.
And I agree. Like once you see and once you start to realize oh, people do exactly what they want. They try to say that they're way more important or way more outgoing or way more driven than they are, because their actions speak way louder than their words.
Absolutely. And I think what a lot of people I own this. And by the way, people doing exactly what they want is not in and of itself any kind of crime. We all do it, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I think a lot of people don't consciously realize what they want. And I think that's a really it's one thing, you'll hear this from people. I'll do exactly what I want to do. It's like, that's not rebellious. That's exactly what you've always done. But you want to be really rebellious? Have a purpose. Do it with a purpose. Because that is different.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes down to even just proving people wrong, too. Right? So many, I'm from a really small town in the Northwest Territories of Canada, and people are like, oh, you'll never be an actor, you're from here, we're all just gonna, retire to this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. Oh, yeah, that's cute, that's cool, that's, yeah, whatever, yeah. And then when you do it, it's like...
They shut up.
Well, I think for some people it's really hard, because they know where you came from, and they were right beside you the whole time, say, and they go, I could have done that too.
Yes.
And then there's a negative, that I think some people feel, because they're like, I don't have that drive. I wish I had that drive. I know I don't, though. Which some people come to terms with it and they're fine, and they go, I'm okay, I accept that. But some people get nasty about it,
Oh, well, yeah, but that's. But here's the thing: it's not really impossible. You can build that drive. Even if you don't have it, you can actually build it. It does take time. It does take some time to build it, but it goes back to what you talked about earlier about the little accomplishments along the way. That's how people build themselves up, is those little steps. You build enough little steps, you'll actually get that drive. You'll be encouraged to do more and more things, and eventually that drive comes to you. I think I've seen this with work with one of my day jobs. There's a guy who could be, if he wanted to be, an amazing photographer. He is a good photographer, but he doesn't value himself. And I just interviewed not too long ago someone that covers metal bands, and she's getting more and more exposure into bigger magazines, bigger venues, because she keeps going for it. The only real difference between the two of them really is that one small detail, that self-value, that self-worth. That's it. He could be huge, right? But and the thing that makes me really sad about him is he's always going to wonder what could have been. Where she's the opposite. It's what could be.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. Well,
I struggle with that stuff all the time.
Oh,
like people, oh my God, you're so great. This was such a great role. And I'm like, I didn't like it.
You're your worst judge, but you're your worst judge. To be totally fair, you can't judge yourself. You're either going to judge yourself two ways. You think you're going to be awesome at everything, which nobody will like, or no one will want to deal with you, or you suck, or you suck at everything, which is self-destructive in the other way. And the truth is probably somewhere in between every time we try, unless we really blow it, or every once in a while you hit it out of the park. Like you can feel it. It's like I did everything I could have possibly done. This feels good. Like that those are rare, but they do happen. But otherwise, there's no gauge. We're just going out there and we're doing stuff, and we don't have It's hard to make the forest from the trees. Like you just can't always. You can't see it. You're just too close. So I mean, what drives me is I don't want to have any could have beens. I don't. I want to have what could I have been. What could I be? And I hope to have that philosophy all the way to the end of my life. I could be this, I could be this, I could be this, I could be this, I could be this. And you know what? If that's... And again, I mean, I'm not going to achieve everything I set out to do. I don't think that's what this is about. It's about going for it as many times, taking as many swings at the bat as you can. Not being afraid to strike out, because you're going to strike out. But you're also going to hit... But you're going to hit some home runs, too. And the home runs are what you're going to remember, not the strikeouts.
That's an interesting analogy.
Yeah.
Because even just getting on first just means you have to run that much further to get all the way home.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Well, that's the thing. Like, I took a crack at a bat. Every podcast guest is a chance to meet someone cool and interesting, or catch up with an old friend. I always think of that as an opportunity. I think about, my next book. It's opened up another doorway I never expected. So let's go down that opportunity. Let's see where that leads. I'm going to be doing my first Kickstarter towards the middle to end of this year with a comic book that's very Dr. Seuss-like. We're going to see how that goes. We're going to do it right. I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to look foolish. I'm not afraid of failure, but I'm also not afraid of success. Because that is the last. I realized this when I won my award. It's not failure I feared the whole time. It was success, because with success comes expectations.
That's true.
Yeah. And now I realize that it's like, screw it. I'm just going to do what got me here. I'm going to keep swinging at the bat. And I'm going to make a big, giant mess. I'm going to be that marble that gets dipped in paint in, like, kindergarten when you just roll it along the paper. I got no because you know what? When it's all said and done, it's going to look pretty. Doesn't matter. Like, it's not going to be perfect. Fuck perfect. It's just going to be. I'm going to be pretty happy with. I'm going to be happy with what I've done, and I'm not going to regret anything I've done. As much, I'll make mistakes, but I won't have regrets, and then I'm good with that.
That's interesting as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have that fear of success too. I was like, is it going to make me a different person? If something big were to happen, am I all of a sudden going to be this raging ass? And I've had some varying levels of success, like from a local perspective, and they're like, oh my God, like, you should have such an attitude. And I'm like, what? Why? I'm just a regular, humble guy. Nothing's going to change. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully the opportunities get bigger and bigger, but that doesn't mean that your personality should get bigger.
I want to be like Alice Cooper. well, because Alice Cooper's pretty much the same guy he always was. Even when he was really big, he still mowed his lawn. Like he didn't care. It's like, I'm Alice Cooper, whatever, right?
Yeah, so I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I've arrived, but that doesn't mean I have to change.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you are going to get a little bit of an ego, but that's actually not necessarily a bad thing either, because some, like, really successful people, if you ever, like, the super successful, they do have big egos, but at first it's a put off, but then you realize why. It's not because it's an insulator, because they have to be they have to be to some degree, because again, the little success I've had, people out of the woodwork have come see me. It's like, oh my god, I want to do this. Like, okay, but I'm not a big successful guy yet. I'm receiving little nuggets of success here and there, right? But really big successful people, I get it all the time. I mean, who the hell knows who approaches them? It's not just friends anymore. Oh yeah, so you need that ego. That ego keeps you, like, so that
on your path.
Yeah, exactly. That will be healthy, as long as you don't believe your bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any, so what?
I smell just fine, thank you very much.
I like my brand.
Yeah, that's right. It does good. It does really good. And yes, this bullshit has been sponsored to you by Dr. Claw, my chair.
And so, do you have like big sponsors where you're like, oh,
I'm not quite there yet. When I've been building up gradually. I'm at that point where the organic growth, right? Now I'm ready to start doing the actual full business growth, right? I've grown. People know my show. People know what I do. Now it's like, okay, let's take what has already attracted a certain degree of interest already, solid audience. Let's see if we can expand that to where I feel it could hit, and that's that's where my investment's going to go into the next little bit. Then I figure that's where my day job, my Sparkle Muffin of day job, might actually sponsor me, which would be hilarious.
That actually would be.
Yeah, I've already gone for it. I was like, well, again, I'm not afraid to swing for the bat. It's like, well, let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Right?
Ask.
Yeah, exactly. So what they're going to tell me? No. Okay. It's like, I had nothing to begin with, so whatever. Right? But that's right. So, and that's how I'm looking. I'm not afraid of a no. And so I'm at that point now where it's like, I'm going to get bigger. Again, the sponsors are going to grow bigger. And as my audience expands, I'll keep getting bigger sponsors. I'm hoping it just basically feeds itself eventually. Is where I'm going to get to with that. It's going to take, and I know it's going to take some time, because that's right.
Oh, of course.
Right. Yeah. It's like no one wants. I would love tomorrow. I would love it if Amazon goes to me, hey, we'll give you X amount of thousands of dollars to be sponsored. I would love that. Probably wouldn't believe it if I heard it. Right? I probably wouldn't believe. It's like, wait, what?
Those internet scams?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I would love that. But I also know. Yeah. Exactly. But I know, like, I'm pretty pragmatic. Like, I have a decent audience, but I don't have the biggest audience. So let's make that a bigger audience, and the bigger the audience I get, the more sponsors. Like anything else, as you'll notice too, the bigger you get, the more people come to you.
It's true.
Yeah, and so and they come to you and they go, hey, oh my god, I want to do this with you, and you're like, blank blank, sure, what the hell? Let's see where this goes. Right?
Tell me all about it.
Yes, that's right.
And it's the same for us with film. Like I stuff, and I would love for someone to give me $20 million to make a movie. Of course, that would be phenomenal. You know, is that going to happen tomorrow? Well, maybe. Is it going to happen?
It's possible. I like, is it 5 years from now? Definitely, like, probably more of a possibility. It could happen tomorrow, and if it does, dude, at least buy me a beer before you go off to Netherlands. Like, and you're like, what happened? I bought Dr. Claw a beer. He interviewed me for his podcast. I gotta get you, Gadget. I'll do that. He got out of him.
Oh yes, I will for sure.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, and by the way, sincerely, I hope you get that success coming your way when you get there. But probably like 2-3 years from now, when you again, as you get more and more established, right, those roles will come, and maybe you don't get that $20 million a year offer, but maybe you get $500,000 a year. I somehow feel you'd be. I feel you'd be okay with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
if I make one movie a year for $500,000, happy.
Yeah, that's right. Now again, like anything else, just like there's one thing you take from this interview: have your own personal resentment meter. If you're disrespected, add money to that cost if they're ever going to pay you, because I'm serious. I mean, it's kind of sweet revenge. Either you never deal with them again, or they pay you stupid money to resent you, which is.
Yep. That might be what success feels like.
Yes, exactly.
You get to stick it to this disrespectful guy.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Why? He's paying me. How does that work? I don't know. I don't know what it does. Howard Stern, Mom,
I've made it.
Howard Stern, when he was at his absolute heyday, the people that liked this show only listened to it for an hour. The people that hated this show listened to it for 2.
Yeah.
Made no sense. It's like, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating. I hate this guy. God, did you hear what he just said? Unbelievable. Like, he goes on about this forever. 2 hours later, can you believe this? Can you believe this? Yeah.
Whereas the guy who likes the show is like, I heard this an hour ago. I turned it off. I got what I wanted out of this, so I moved on.
This is my favorite bit. That's all I really watch.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's it. It's beautiful. So I feel we actually have a decent interview here. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, we definitely do, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Feel inspired, by your words, by my words, for sure.
Hopefully. Yeah, that's right. Just remember, our brand does not smell funny at all. No.
I want to inspire one person.
Yeah, that's good. No, I mean, in all seriousness, good luck with everything you're doing. I hope it all works out. I hope your pitches go very, very well, and I hope you get more movies made, man. That sounds phenomenal. So I think what we'll do is tell people what's coming out. This is going to air probably, we'll say, mid-May and June-ish, something like that. What's out recently, and how can people find you?
Core Values is out. It's in Canada, it can be ordered through Sunrise Records. In the States, it's on Amazon Prime. In the UK, it's on Amazon Prime. In Italy, it's on Amazon. It's also on like Vudu and Google Play and stuff. And then in July, hopefully we'll have our second movie out called No Apology, and it will hopefully as well, and hopefully many more. As we pitch to Crave and stuff, so hopefully it lands on there. And then I guess I'm on Instagram, MDTLEBLANC, for people to follow me and stay tuned that way. And then hopefully we'll have an album by, August, and then when that drops, great.
Sweet.
Yeah, it'll be on iTunes or whatever.
Wherever. Okay. And by Adam Dries. Adam Dries' latest book is 5 Critical Things for Successful Book Signings. It is one of the best books you can read on how to conduct yourself at a book signing, book presentation, speech, you name it. Adam is a fantastic writer, but he's also a fantastic presenter, and this book is for any author trying to get as good as he is. Check out the book on any available platform, Amazon, Kobo, or brick and mortar bookstores as well.
And that was my conversation with Morgan Leblanc. Morgan's latest release is Core Values. Check it out at Sunrise Records or on Amazon. I'll probably be checking this out myself. He's a really cool dude. I had a blast. So Morgan, if you listen to this, you're welcome back anytime, man. I would definitely enjoy it. Before we get to the wrapping up the show, I'm going to got some more business here to take care of. I'm giving away 3 books this month. 49th Parallels, edited by Hayden Trenholm. My last thing from Bundarin Press. Really, really cool. I really enjoyed Bundarin stuff. Bundarin is talking about alternative Canadian histories and futures in 49th Parallels. Really, really fun book. 5 Critical Things for Book Signings by Adam Dries. I've talked about it many times. It's the ultimate book for any author in terms of how to handle book signings and fans. It's does a great job with this book, and you should definitely be picking this up if you're interested. The last book is The Undine's Tear by Talina Winters. Talina is my other sponsor this month. She has written a very interesting book. I'm reading it now. I really like the idea of... Talina is my guest next week, so we talk a lot more in detail about this book in particular and some of the themes. And like I said, she was a great guest, and I'm looking forward to showing this conversation. But this book's really good. Like, I think it's got potentially something really special, and you guys should definitely try to check it out. So if you put your name in the email list in the description of the episode. If you do that, you'll open and draw for one of these 3 books. I guarantee it'll be awesome. And finally, before I wrap up, I'm going to talk a little bit about me here, and that's this. One of the things that we talk about in this thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately is could have been versus could be. I have had a very successful year this year in terms of podcast getting noticed, in terms of just some cool milestones and accomplishments, in terms of people I've interviewed, places the podcast has been showing up. I've been really, really successful, but I've also have seen friends kind of disappear. They're all moving on with their lives, and I'm really happy for all of them. My sister's in Mississauga now, and it's got me thinking about what could be and where I could go and what I could do, because I've hit a really interesting moment in my life, and that's I'm free to be whoever I want to be, and I can go wherever I want to go right now, and that's a really interesting spot to be in. And I'm thinking about this future more and more and more, and probably we'll be talking about it in the days and weeks to come. But for now, that will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. So if you want to support the podcast, you can do so a lot of different ways. You can like my Facebook page, Josh Pantelleresco, author podcaster. There's lots of cool stuff there. You can see, and I'm very interactive there. Do that. You can subscribe to the podcast. I'm on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podomatic. Subscribe. I have a YouTube channel, Joshua Pantelleresco. Instagram, Twitter is at jpantelleresco, JPANTALLERESCO. My books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, and Wandering God, are available through Mirror World Publishing. Alice Zero is coming soon. And I have another book, The Cloud Diver, which will be coming soon as well. Then, beyond all that, stay inspired, keep doing your thing, and I'll see you guys next time with Talina Winters.
Josh.